Hello youngins, it's Mr. Dias. I hope you're doing well, guys. We're going to get drowned out sound-wise by a boat coming in and some seagulls out there, but hey, I'm kicking off a new series of field trips right now, starting right here at Kiptopeke State Park at the southern end of the eastern shore. We're just about 6 or more miles south of Cape Charles at Kiptopeke State Park. I'm on the fishing pier right now, which used to be the ferry dock. And that ferry used to take cars and people across the bay for work, for pleasure, to shop, or just coming back and forth through, heading north and south. So it was a pretty good hub of activity for many years. And before that, it was one of the first stops on John Smith's exploration of the bay. So it's a pretty cool place to start any exploration, especially the one I have planned. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start right here at Kiptopeke, and we're gonna go on up the hill in a little while to this new Broadwater Visitor Center they're building. Which will be an education visitor center open to the public, opening in the spring of 2021. They'll continue to work with the schools. Their interpreters and educational staff will continue to work with you guys. But it's really a neat place, and I think you're going to like it. And we're going to show you some inside looks there. But this will also be the launching point for a couple other trips, all virtual, of course, because traveling to these places right now is probably not in anyone's best interest. So I'm working with the people at the other end to create these virtual trips for us all. So from here, we're going to launch across to Cape Henry and take a look at what is now Joint Base Little Creek, Fort Story. Used to be just plain old Fort Story, and Cape Henry, which was the site of the first landing of the colonists for Jamestown. When the Virginia Company arrived there in 1607, they stopped there at Cape Henry before proceeding up into what is now the James River and creating Jamestown. So we're going to start there with them, talk about the native inhabitants that lived there when they arrived. We're going to visit a real special place that's called First Landing State Park. It's my home park where I started, me. And it used to be called Seashore State Park, but now it's First Landing. And I got a friend over there that works there, and she's going to set us up with a really cool virtual field trip over there so we can talk about that location and what they have to offer and some things you might see there. And then I'm going to take us right on up the bay into the James River and up to Jamestown, where I hope to do a little exploration around the Jamestown site there, talk a little bit about life in Virginia during that time frame and some of the hardships that the Virginia colony folks experienced when they arrived at Jamestown, talk about some of their accomplishments. From there, talk about colonial life out of Williamsburg and give you a little perspective of what colonial life was like for all the folks during that time frame. And then I think I'm going to conclude over in Yorktown at the end of the Revolution, talk a little bit about the American Revolution, the beginning of America, and how it all came to a head right there across the bay at Yorktown and right out here in the bay and at the mouth of the bay during a huge naval battle which almost ensured our victory in the war. So stay tuned, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to see what we can see while we're out there. So it's a great place to launch off of on any exploration. So let's get up the hill now and see Chief Ranger Josh. He's going to take us into this new visitor center and let us know what that's all about. All right, let's head out. Come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Chief Ranger Josh over here at Kiptopeke State Park. I'm in charge of the law enforcement, the natural resource management, and the interpretive program here over at Kiptopeke. So today we're going to take a little tour behind the scenes of our Big Water Visitor Center. Been working on it for a little over a year, and a lot of work has been done by our staff and volunteers. We're really excited to get the chance to show you guys this. We're hoping that you'll get to be able to check everything out this spring. So follow me, guys. We're going to head inside. All right, everybody, so we're here in the Big Water Visitor Center. This section here is going to be kind of your introduction to the Visitor Center. We're talking about the bountiful place that is the Eastern Shore and the Chesapeake Bay watershed. And then here we will talk about what's in the name. So where does the name Chesapeake come from? It's an Algonquin word for Great Shellfish Bay. We talk about a little bit about the oysters and their importance to the ecosystem here. This section will be a saltwater tank, so you get to see what type of things are living out in the water that you may not typically get to see on an average trip to Kiptopeke. In this section here, we'll talk a little bit about the history of the Eastern Shore. The native inhabitants who were here before the English, and the first English colonist, Thomas Savage. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. He was a great person. He was a translator for the English with the Powhatan tribe. And here we talk about slavery on the Eastern Shore. It's an important part of our history. We can't forget about it. It's not something we should sweep under the rug. It's something we need to talk about and embrace as a national identity, as part of our culture. And then we talk about freedom on the shore as well, with Mary and Anthony Johnson and their importance of our collective history here on the Eastern Shore. And then we talk a little bit about commerce and culture, how the ferries and the watermen and the farmers and everything came together on the Eastern Shore to create this diverse economy and ecology with all the human interaction that we have here. And then we talk a little bit about farms and forests, what we're doing here at the park, transforming former farmland into reclaimed hardwood and pine mixed forests. In this section here, it's going to be really, really cool. We're going to have some hands-free interpretive and educational opportunities. This is a microscope with digital camera built into it, so we'll be able to provide a live feed of what we're looking at through the microscope onto the screen. Here we're talking about the pollination process, how pollination works, and what's needed for pollination in this section. We're also going to have a shadow box, which is a box for displays. We're going to have various different moths, beetles, insects that pollinate for you to see. Down the wall, we're going to have our pollinator display. So here we're talking about managing for pollinators. What type of plants are we going to be having, and what type of plants do we want, the differences between native and non-native plants, and why it's important to create natural habitats for these pollinators for our environment. And then over here, we touch base a little bit more with the honeybees. Everyone knows honeybees. Everyone knows what's important about honeybees. And we just go a little bit more in depth with it. We talk about the various ways bees fly, such as the waggle dance, and its purpose, and the life cycle of bees, and the kind of bee society they have with the workers and the queen. And so that's what we were talking about over here. So this mural here, guys, is from our Mockingbird Trail. It's something that you will definitely see if you go out exploring at Kiptopeke. So it's a maritime forest, lots of hardwood pine mix, and the loamy soil. When you're walking out on these trails, it's actually really unique. You're walking on ancient sand dunes. That's why when you kick a little bit of the topsoil off, you find sand underneath. So guys, we're going to be talking a little bit now about the flora and fauna that are here at Kiptopeke. Very diverse group of species, different birds, different types of mammals, reptiles. Here we've got a great egret, a northern bobwhite. This may seem a little strange to you guys. This is a regular old common raccoon, but its hair and fur pigmentation is different. It's what we call a cinnamon raccoon. Then this is a green sea turtle. These are typically found out in the bay. Very, very cool animals. Section here, guys, we're going to be talking about the inner dunes and the ecology and the environment as it transitions from the maritime forest where we were before to the inner dunes out into the Chesapeake Bay. What we want people to take from this section is the importance of the watershed and why we need to take care of it, why we need to protect it and make sure it survives into future generations.
Well, that concludes our behind-the-scenes look at the new Big Water Visitor Center here at Kiptopeke State Park. Once again, Kiptopeke State Park's down at the south end of the eastern shore, just past Cape Charles and just before you get on the bridge tunnel. If you get to the bridge tunnel, you've gone too far. It's an amazing place to be. I used to work here. I spent a lot of time here. It's one of my favorite places in the world ever to visit. In addition to the trails, the beach, the visitor center, they have a campground both for tents and recreational vehicles. They have yurts, which is a really cool Mongolian sleeping tent right there on the bluffs of the beach. They have cabins now for 1 and 2 bedroom cabins, and they have lodges that will hold 16 people for all, I don't even have 16 friends I want to hang out with the whole weekend, but it's an amazing place to be. So there's a lot to do here. It's open year round. There is a parking fee when you come in, but everything else is free in the park. There's coming up, we'll have a first day hike, which is not a group hike anymore, but it's still going to be a good thing to do on the first of the year. So I want to thank Ranger Josh for showing us around today and spending some time with us. I had a chance to work with him over the years, and he's a real stand-up guy, and I enjoyed it. So coming back here today was real special for me, and I enjoyed it. Again, thanks. Any parting words, sir?
Yeah, thank you for coming out, guys, and taking part in this behind-the-scenes video of the visitor center. We're really excited, and hopefully, we're fingers crossed, spring 2021, we'll have this place open to the public so you guys can come see it for yourself. We're also going to have an outdoor section with a meandering trail made from crushed shell, and that's going to show the native plants and trees that are historically found on the eastern shore, such as longleaf pine, dogwoods, and live oak. So that's going to be really cool to see, and you guys are young, you'll get to see it growing up and growing into these huge trees so that you can take your kids to the park and show them what you learned and everything you've seen here. So thanks again, guys, for coming out.
All right, thanks again. And once again, guys, take care, stay safe, stay warm. We'll see you back in class when we're back in class. Remember, I love you. Peace.